Well, hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year to everyone. Let's get this lighting situation straightened out. Sorry about that. This is what happens when you go live, right? My color is all weird. It's getting dark here. I don't have my light set up. Listen, Happy New Year. Sitting at my desk trying to get caught up, and I'm just reminded of, and I know you're going to be able to relate to this, but probably any small business, but restoration, emergency services, remediation, whatever it is. It's like it feels, and I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to be sensitive here and not upset the mental health industry, but it feels like insanity. You try your best to sit down with a plan and agenda. You have your day possibly charted out, and it's just constant phone calls. It's constant, interruptions and honestly, even self-inflicted rabbit holes. We think of something else comes to mind. And you know why that is? It's for a lot of reasons, and it's different for everybody. But I know a few reasons. Number one, you've got a lot going on up here because you never get it out of here down here. You never brain dump. We generally, as entrepreneurs, we're always thinking of the next big thing. And we're usually the person in our business that has to do everything, right? So it's the marketing, it's the financial, it's the problems, blah, blah, blah. You're not delegating well enough, for one. You've got to delegate a whole lot. I mean, more than you're comfortable. You're not going to be comfortable delegating. Most people in trade industries are generally uncomfortable delegating, right? But you're going to have to. Hold on just a second. Hold on a second. Sorry. You have to delegate. But I've figured out another way to say that running a restoration business, any business, but restoration business, is chaotic because you don't have a system. I think every consultant, every coach, every guru talks about systems, procedures, processes. They're all different things, but they're not completely wrong. I will promise you, the companies that are most successful, that grow and scale, and I don't just mean grow and have a lot of revenue. Revenue is not necessarily growth. Profits and new leaders and capacity is growing, then it's endless. But companies that have a system in place, it doesn't mean the processes of how you write all the things that you do. Those are processes. Those are a subcategory underneath a system. A system is everyone being responsible for something, a place and a time and a thing for everything. And yes, it can exist in this industry. I coach on it. Restoration Operating System, ROS. Some of you have probably read Traction or read Get a Grip, the EOS system. Well, I've kind of modified that for the restoration industry, and I'm now this year going to be launching it. But here's another way to look at it. So those of you, well, probably Mac as well, because I have both on my desk, but if you're Windows oriented, imagine having 1,000 documents with no operating system, with no files. Imagine going back to MS-DOS and having 650 thumbnails. Have you ever looked over someone's shoulder and looked at their screen and you see 14, 15, 20 rows of files of just, I can't even, it just kind of gets to me because I'm an organized person. So I have system. I have folders for things and folders inside of other folders that have to do with certain things, certain different businesses that I run. It's a set of parameters at which you file things because you have to file them away so that you can come back to them later. As entrepreneurs, we have all this stuff going on. We're afraid to get rid of it because we know we need to do it, but we don't have a place to put it. And so therefore we go into this hamster wheel. Songwriters are the same way. Songwriters and singers are usually walking around with a notepad and a pen, or now they're using their recorder. I know some musicians and artists, they're using their iPhone and they just brain dump. They've got it's just maybe jumbled up. It makes no sense. It's nothing they would ever want you to hear, but they've got to get it out of their head so they can process it later and remember that they were thinking of something at that time. And then they got to put it down in a way that they remember. Our business is the same way. But if you got to have an office day, you need to sit at your desk. You need to have some time with your team and understand if you've got interruptions all day long, your team owes you an answer why. You should literally sit and write down every phone call interruption you take and look at it at the end of the day and then ask yourself, did that need to happen? Did that need to happen? Most of the time, you're going to find that you got that interruption, that call, that person walked in, that problem, because no one else is responsible for it. You did not delegate that to anyone. No one else has accountability to that. Everyone else might only go do the one thing that you told them to do. Until that's done, they're going to come back and wait for the next thing. You've got to stop running your business that way because it will burn you out. Burnout in our industry is horribly popular, common, misdiagnosed, and often ignored. So just think of your business as like Microsoft Windows, having folders, and inside of those folders having some more. And it has to be labeled right. It has to make sense. It has to be certain types of things. You've got to figure out where you're putting it. I mean, there still has to be some meaning behind it. But that's why ROS is so good, because you've simplified that. You've strengthened the understanding of it. And everyone comes to the meetings. It's all based around meetings and not often, not once a week. Very specific, very pointed, a meeting once a week. Everyone has a place. Everyone's in the right seat. Everyone gets the core values. They get it. They want it. They have the capacity to do their job. If they don't, they come to you and say, this one thing you want me to do, not real clear on it. Can we go over it again? Absolutely. That's your job. If you don't start to try to build your company in that fashion, what happens when you grow and you have more projects and more employees and more issues? Then those days of sitting trying to do something, they're really gone, because you now have more of those things and you haven't delegated that. So start thinking now. I don't care how small you are, smaller the better. Building your company to where you can organize things and get some systems in place. After you have systems, then the processes come. That's when SOPs and processes come, after you have a place to put them. But that's like writing pages without having a book to put them in. Don't write the pages with the story until you have a book that has an outline of a flow. If you put the middle, the end, the beginning at the end, all in different places, because that's how it comes out of your head, it's not going to make any sense to anybody else, and they sure can't help you. So anyway, I hope this little bit of language helps you. That's how I try to explain organization to people. Sometimes it works. Tell me in the comments what you deal with, what works for you, what doesn't. Anyway, until next time, Clark Brown, Disaster Podcast. Restoration, it's not easy to run, but man, when it's run well, it's a good business. We love what we do. We love helping people, and it can be very profitable if we know how to run it right. But we first have to get these things under control. We have to get to where we can get to the profitable part by getting under control. Anyway, take care. We'll see you in the next one.